A North Carolina NAACP leader is taking on the Tea Party. Reverend William Barber saying the Tea Party is actively seeking out minorities to use as mouthpieces. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott knows what it's like to be the target of Reverend Barber's comments. We spoke with Senator Scott earlier today. Senator, nice to see you.
Thank you. It's good to be back with you.
Thank you for letting us come to your office.
Absolutely. Welcome.
Thank you. All right. You're a conservative, right? Is that fair to say?
Absolutely, yeah.
The head of the NAACP North Carolina, Reverend William Barber, said he described minorities who support conservative causes as mouthpieces.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, number one. Here's what concerns me about not only his comments, but those comments from folks like him. It suggests that there's some monolithic thinking in the African American community or in communities that are steeped in poverty, no matter your color. That should be challenged every time it comes out because it's just wrong. And the impact of those comments on people who are looking for a way out of poverty or looking for a way to expand their opportunities, looking to start a new company, they're told very quickly, don't be different. Don't think for yourself. Don't do things in ways that are inconsistent with your community, or you'll find yourself having been rebuked by the leaders of that community. That's just a very bad impression to leave on the minds of young kids.
Why do you think he said that? And he has said other things before. He's called you a ventriloquist dummy. I mean, he's singled you out. Why do you think he's done that?
You know, it's hard to tell why. I try not to focus too much attention on why people say what they do. I can't really look into his heart and figure out his intentions. I can tell you that it's counterproductive for us to have a conversation about him. We should have a conversation, however, about those folks who have been trapped in poverty as I once lived. I've seen people living in ways and in places that were much worse than mine. And they're consistently asking for the same thing, opportunity. They're not asking for someone to give them something. They're asking for the ability to succeed and to achieve based on what's inside them, and they need an opportunity to have it excavated.
Do you ever go home at night, though, because there are so few African Americans in the Republican Party? Do you ever go home at night after getting sort of swatted around by African Americans and think, like, you know, give it a rest, or do you feel bad about it? Does it get under your skin?
Well, I would tell you, 18 years ago when I was called everything I could possibly call when I first was elected to county council, the attacks that I received, the phone calls were vicious. I'm not sure that they've changed a lot. Unfortunately, and fortunately, my skin's a little thicker. But what I realize is that now the message or the attacks really aren't about me. It's perhaps that we're striking some fear because here's a conservative guy who's bald, talking about policies that move people forward. Maybe that's what they're concerned about, not the melanin in my skin. I'm not quite sure what drives them crazy, but there's something about having unique conservatives placed in pretty prominent positions at a time when there's such a great debate about the wealth gap increasing in the last 5 years. That brings out the worst in some folks, and I feel sorry for them, honestly.
You were in the House before you were in the Senate. A lot of African Americans in the House, not so much here in the U.S. Senate. Were they receptive to the Democrats on the other side, or was there some sort of tension because you're African American Republican?
Well, just to be transparent, there is a natural tension, it seems, between being a Republican and the black community, it seems. What I find is if you don't pay attention to that natural tension, that you diffuse it very quickly just by being yourself. And so when I had the opportunity to become appointed to the Senate, the person who stopped and penned an editorial on my behalf was the chairman then of the CBC. He decided that I represented the values of South Carolina, but I also did it in a gentlemanly way. And so I have found great support from many of my friends who are in the CBC. It takes a little work. People raise their eyebrows. They're a little suspicious. When I go to historically black colleges and universities, the first question I get from the kids are, why are you Republican? It's like, did you know what you were doing? And when I share my story and I share the journey, I talk about the notion of individual responsibility in a free enterprise system that really has the opportunity to help you achieve your highest potential and meet your highest goals, they become interested in the dialogue. And that's what I think is perhaps frightening to the left, is that we have an opportunity to have a serious conversation, not about what I believe or what they believe, but what does the person who needs the opportunity believe, and how can we help them get out?
Senator, it's always nice to see you. Thank you,
so
sir.
much.
Thank
yes,
you.
ma'am.